This is the Rhone SP005 native 4K projector, and at the time of this recording, it's actually sub $500, and that's pretty good considering everything that this projector can do. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into everything that this projector can actually do, so make sure you stick around until the end of the video to find out if this projector is right for you. So like I mentioned before, this is a native 4K projector with HDR10 Plus support. It uses LCD technology. It also has a contrast ratio of 1600 to 1. The throw ratio is 1.37 to 1, which will give you a 150-inch picture at about 13 feet. It also uses Android TV 9.0, so you can install all of your favorite apps on it. It has up to 600 ANSI lumens, which will allow you to see the picture even in a room with the lights on. It can provide a 60 to 200-inch image. It also has blue light reducing technology. It features autofocus, auto keystone correction, obstacle avoidance, and auto screen alignment. It has two super loud 12-watt speakers to give you stereo sound. It uses Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0 for casting and pairing devices, and also has HDMI 2.0 for super fast connection speeds. And the lamp offers 40,000 plus hours of use. All right, let's see what we get inside the box. And here we have an accessory box, and we have our projector on the inside. Here's our projector. It is fairly large. It's definitely not the biggest projector that I've seen, but it's definitely got some weight and size to it. So here we have our manual. Here is our power cable. It's pretty big. We have our HDMI cable, and we have our controller. So let's take a look at the projector again. On the top here, we have our power button that has a little status LED. We have free 18-month extra warranty. On the front here, we have our camera cover, which is pretty nice. It's made of a rubbery type material, very cool. There's our lens, and it's got like this fabric on the front as well. The whole projector is made of plastic, again, except for this fabric type material on the front. On the side, it looks like we have some fan and speaker ports. On the bottom, we have an air filter that you can easily replace. All you need to do is take out this screw here and pull back these little tabs, and this whole thing just comes off. We also have a little stand that recesses back into the projector itself, and it pops out by just pushing over this little tab here. Show you how that comes out. See, it just drops down when you release that little tab, and then you can just adjust it how you want it with that little tab. The other side of the projector is exactly the same as the other side. It's got your air intake as well as a speaker. And on the back, again, we have that nice fabric material. We have a USB Type-C, headphone jack, two HDMI ports, two USB ports, an Ethernet port in, and we have our power connection. We also have an infrared sensor on the back as well. Now let's plug in the projector and see what it can do. And if we take a look at our remote here, you can see that it does have a mute button. We have our sound up and down. We have our focus buttons on the side. You can also press the middle to have it focus automatically. We have our home button, our back button, our menu button on the side. We also have our selection button with the OK in the middle. We have our settings button, our input button, a Bluetooth button, and a power button. Another thing to note about the projector is it doesn't have any menu buttons or selection buttons on the projector itself. Everything is done directly from the remote. So if you don't have the remote, you're not going to be able to control the projector. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the projector to show you how long it takes to turn on and to actually get a picture. So I'm going to push the power button. And you can also get a sense of how loud the fan is too. This is me standing right next to the projector. They also make it really easy to set up the projector as well. Pretty much you just turn it on and the projector can do pretty much everything itself, from the autofocusing to the keystone correction. But just in case, if you have to make little corrections yourself, you can do so in the settings. So there, as you can see, it took about 30 seconds for it to totally turn on and to get to where you can select your applications. Now the closest you're going to be able to use the projector to the wall or your screen is going to be about 52.5 inches, and that produces about a 44-inch picture diagonal. And as you can see, it's pretty clear. Another really cool thing about this projector is it has the obstacle avoidance. So if you happen to move your projector back so far where it's actually projecting off of the screen and some things are on the way, such as in my entertainment center, there's some controllers and things on top of it, it notices that and actually shrinks the screen to where it no longer interferes with anything that's in its way. So here, as you can see, the screen is now only projecting up until the point where it would be obstructed by things sitting on my entertainment center. Now, every time you move the projector at all, it'll refocus and reposition its screen. You can set it to not do this, especially if you have your projector sitting in one spot all the time. Now, for the most part, the projector does a pretty good job at autofocusing and positioning the screen, but in case you have just something that's just a little bit off, again, you can easily go into the settings and make those minor corrections. One really important thing I need to mention before you even turn the projector on is do not put it directly onto carpet or any fabric, because airflow comes from underneath the projector, cools the inside, and then exits through the sides. So if the projector can't cool itself, you will ruin the LCD. Now, one thing you always want to test out when you get a brand new projector is to see how uniform the picture is. You want to make sure that all the lines on the top, the sides, and the bottom are pretty much all straight, because sometimes projectors have like a curve. You also want to check out the focus uniformity. You want to make sure that it's focused in all four corners of the picture and not just in the middle. And if we take a look at our settings up here, you can see that that's pretty clear. The text on the bottom in the left bottom corner is pretty clear. On the bottom right is pretty clear, and it's also clear on the top right. I'll show you that in just a minute with the time. But as you can see, the focusing is pretty clear throughout the whole picture, and that's very important for a good projector picture. You can also see that the lines are nice and straight, and there's no curve to them. That's another thing that's really important when you're looking for a good projector. And then here, as I mentioned, if we look in the top right hand corner, you can see that the time over there is pretty clear as well. Now, as I mentioned before, the projector is running Android TV 9.0, and you can add pretty much any application that you want to the projector itself. There's a lot of different options. The UI is also pretty smooth. There's really not a lot of lag when you're moving through each one of the sections of the application, which is definitely a plus. At the top here, we have a search. We have home, we have our application section, we have our video section, music section, and our settings. Now, if we go into the settings here, you can see we have our Wi-Fi settings, very simple to set up. We have Bluetooth settings. We also have our projector settings, which there are a lot of settings in here that you can change. You can change the projector mode. So if you want to mount the projector upside down, you can change the way that the picture looks just by simply pressing that. So pretty much any way you want to put this projector, there's a setting in here to change the orientation. We can also turn on and off the obstacle avoidance. We have our 4 points correction, which I did earlier to kind of fine tune where the picture was on my screen. We have automatic focusing that you can turn on and off. You can also have the projector focus when you turn it on and off, or you can turn that setting on and off as well. We also have manual focusing. There's also a digital zoom. So if you have the screen projector put too close to your screen, you can always zoom in to make the picture a little smaller. We also have our system update settings. If there's a firmware update, you can do that from here. We have some other settings. For the power on source, you can have it set to always go to a certain input when you turn the projector on. For the power mode, you can set it to turn on when it receives power, or you can have it go into standby mode. And then we have about the projector. This is all the software version and everything that you have. It's also got a built-in 16 gigabyte capacity for storage. So if you want to download movies or something like that, you have 16 gigabytes of internal memory to store that to. Another really nice thing about the remote control for this projector that I know everybody's going to love is the fact that it's connected to the projector by Bluetooth when you're in range, so you don't have to actually point the remote control at the projector to use it. So if I put this behind my back, you can see that it still controls the projector just fine. And when you're out of Bluetooth range, as long as you can see the projector, you can still use the IR sensor to change any of your settings or controls. Now, if you're wondering where the extra picture and sound settings are, don't worry, I got you covered. All you need to do is press the little menu button, which is the 3 lines on the remote itself, and it'll bring up the extra picture and sound options, where we can change the picture mode. There's a couple different settings you can choose, or you can also set your own with the brightness, contrast, saturation, and sharpness. Then for the sound, we also have our sound mode we can change. Just like the picture, we have a couple different presets. You can also change anything you want between the different hertz. We have our surround modes and some advanced audio options with a balance. Another really nice thing about this projector is you don't have to have it directly centered in your projector screen to have a nice straight picture. Here, as you can see, I have my projector set off to the side and it still projects a nice straight picture on the screen. And another little tip about this projector is the fact that you can have a little cursor come up on the screen just by holding in the menu button on the remote. So you hold that in for a couple seconds and you'll see a little cursor come up on the screen that you can control with the little arrow buttons on the remote, and then you can use the OK button in the middle to select whatever you have it on, which plays and pauses this video. Now in our application settings, we do have a file application, so if you plug in a USB flash drive to the projector, you can go into here and kind of search through those files, and you can also play video, music, and document files directly to the projector from the flash drive itself. We have our Miracast settings, we have Chrome if you want to browse a web browser, and some other applications on here as well. Now we are in my basement right now and I do have all my lights on and you can very easily see the screen still. I'm going to be turning my lights off so you can see what it looks like in pure darkness. It looks really good, but at least you know if you happen to have some light on or if there's some light coming in through a window, you can still easily see the screen. Now this projector does have some really loud sound. It's got 2 stereo speakers on each side of the projector, so if you don't happen to have any other source of sound, you can very easily use those to hear what you're watching. Let me let you listen to how loud the sound actually is.
And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why, but I'm going to give you one reason right now, and it's the fact that the body panels are made out of stainless steel that is very tough, which means you can do this to it without causing any damage.
That's super loud. So now let's turn the lights off so you can see what the picture looks like in pure dark. And then here's what 4K HDR video looks like on this projector. So you can definitely tell the difference between having the lights on and the lights off. The picture definitely looks a lot better in a darker environment. So if you can make it pitch black in your room, it'll definitely be beneficial for the picture. The picture we're showing you here is in 4K, and I have to tell you, in person, it looks absolutely amazing. The colors are very well represented, and the projector is capable of doing 60 frames per second. And being a sub $500 projector, you really can't go wrong. Now the pictures we're seeing here are nice and vibrant and they're very clear, but I do want to let you know that the screen is just a white vinyl screen. It's nothing special. It's not ALR. So if you have a proper projector screen, you can actually get a much better contrast and picture quality. But this will give you some idea of how good the picture is just using a regular vinyl screen like I am. The contrast ratio for this projector also seems pretty good. It does a pretty good job at keeping the dark portions of the video dark and the light portions light. There's only a very slight bit of a washout in the darker portions of the screen, but that's pretty good for a 1600:1 contrast ratio. Another little cool subtle thing about this projector is when you plug in an input source, it actually comes up on the screen asking if you want to switch to that source. And as I mentioned before, you can also play files directly from a flash drive. So then just plug in the flash drive into the back of the projector. It'll ask you if you want to automatically switch to that flash drive. We'll confirm. And then it brings you right into your file explorer. You can see you can do some file transfers as a download manager. You could look at the pictures, videos, music. You can install APKs. There's zip files, and there's also a spot you can look at the internal storage or the flash drive itself independently. So we'll go back and I'll look at some of the videos that I have on my flash drive. And then it only displays all the videos, which makes it a lot easier for you to look at all the videos you might have. And as you can see, we're looking at a Call of Duty video directly off of my flash drive. Now, as I also mentioned, you can also cast from pretty much any device. Here I have my iPhone. They make it super easy to do. Just make sure your projector is connected to Wi-Fi. Then we'll go on our iPhone and we'll go into screen mirroring. Select the HappyCast 5. And it'll automatically go into casting on your screen. And as you can see, it is pretty smooth. There is a slight bit of lag, but it's really not that bad. So now if you want to cast YouTube videos or things like that, you can do that directly from your phone. Now, in addition to casting to this projector, you can also use it just as a Bluetooth speaker without anything showing on the screen. And I really can't stress this enough that these speakers on this projector are really loud and they actually sound really good. So here I have a little YouTube video on my phone. I have my phone connected to the speaker to use it just as Bluetooth, and all the sound you're hearing is not going to be coming from my phone, but through the speakers on the projector. And also notice that there's no lag between my mouth moving and the sound coming out of the projector. Connected to my phone, I'm going to put them on my ear so you can see what they look like. I want to let you know how they feel and how they sound. So if you don't happen to have these in the case, they do have a little signifier here to let you know which ear they go on. Now, in addition to using the projector as a Bluetooth speaker, you can also connect Bluetooth speakers directly to the projector. So here I have my UE Boom speaker connected to the projector. I'm going to play the YouTube video, and all the sound you're going to be hearing is coming through this speaker and not the projector. So if you happen to have the projector kind of mounted away from where you're setting, you can always set the Bluetooth speaker a little bit closer or wherever you need.
Like nothing.
Yeah. It's amazing how when you get that torque in the front, it just crawls up and over those rocks.
And if you need to change the volume, you can either change it from the remote control or directly from the Bluetooth speaker. So I'm using a remote here. You can see that the volume is raising for the Bluetooth speaker itself, or if you want to use it right from the Bluetooth speaker itself, I'm going to press the volume buttons on the Bluetooth speaker, and you can see it pretty much does exactly the same thing as the remote control. So now we're going to test out some gaming. I have my Xbox Series X connected to the projector, and we're going to see if there's any input lag, specifically when playing first-person shooter games. And as I mentioned before about that uniformity and focus, you can very clearly see that in the upper left-hand corner here, everything is in focus. The same over in the top right-hand corner. The bottom right-hand corner where it says sponsored, you can very easily see that. It's nice and clear. And then in the bottom left-hand corner here, it's very clear too. So the uniformity for this projector is really good. And even when we get really close to the screen, you can still see how nice and sharp the text is, and you don't see any screen door effect. Then if we go into the display options for the Xbox, you can see that it is displaying in 4K. If we go into the 4K TV details, you can see that the projector does support HDR10 for gaming and all of the other 4K options here. It obviously doesn't support 120 Hertz or Dolby Vision. And then for the video modes, you can do Auto HDR, Auto HDR10, and 4K. So while playing Call of Duty on the Xbox with this projector, it's actually a really good experience. I didn't notice any input lag whatsoever when I was playing, even though I'm really not that quick when playing first-person shooters. As you can see, I died a lot. It's still a really good experience, and the sound coming from those speakers is also really good if you don't have any other sound source. The sound was super clear from the speakers, and there's also a little bit of bass. So I definitely think if you're going to be using this projector to play video games, not only are you going to have a really good picture, but there's also going to be some pretty good sound coming from the projector itself, and you're going to have a really good experience. There's really nothing majorly wrong with this projector that I could see with my time using it. The only thing that I kind of wish it had that it doesn't is some select buttons on the projector, so you could still cycle through everything you needed to on the projector itself if something happened with the remote. Other than that, it's at a great price. It has a lot of really good features. The picture's nice and clear at 4K, and the sound is pretty amazing using these two 12-watt speakers. I also really love the fact that they included an Ethernet port on this projector, because sometimes Wi-Fi can be spotty and not fast enough to do 4K streaming. What do you guys think? Are there any features that you'd like to see on this projector? Let me know in the comments below. So if you guys want to pick this projector up, I would definitely not waste time, because I don't know how long it's going to stay at that $499 price, and I will be putting product links in the video description. If you guys enjoyed the video, it would really help out my channel if you gave me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.